Hi guys, in this video we are going to cover one of the most awaited and one of the most important topics with respect to our examination, that is economic survey of 2017-18. So we have framed over 150 questions on economic survey 2017-18 which are very important for our examination, and we are going to cover the entire economic survey through these multiple choice questions. Now before jumping on to those multiple choice questions, let us understand the approach for coverage of economic survey. Now whenever we refer to economic survey, there are some basic facts which are presented on Indian economy, and those facts have been handpicked by us from the survey itself, because the questions on those facts can be directly asked in the examination. So we have also framed similar questions on similar lines on direct basic facts relating to Indian economy. Now in the economic survey itself, there is some other information which is presented. There is performance analysis of different governments' policy measures. There is analysis of how the Indian economy has moved on different fronts, like how the economy has moved on fiscal deficit, how the economy has moved on inflation. Now on those parts we have tried to extrapolate whichever information is given, and we have tried to frame questions based on the concept which is covered in the economic survey 2017-18. So we have tried to extrapolate here, and we have tried to frame all the indirect questions which can be asked from the economic survey in the examination. So now we are going to begin with the chapter 1, which is an overview of the India's economic performance in 2017-18, and this we have divided in two parts, and in the first part we are going to cover the first 15 questions on this chapter. So without wasting any further time, let us move to the first question on economic survey 2017-18. According to economic survey 2018, what is the expected growth rate of India in 2017-18? 6%, 6.5%, 7%, 7.5%, or none of the options given above. Now the growth rates are very important in general for our examination, and economic survey also presents the expectations on the future growth rates. So for 2017-18, the economic survey has said that the growth rate is expected to be around 6.5%. So here the answer is B, and this is a very important fact which is to be remembered from examination point of view. Now GDP is a very important number for any economy, and this is the number which is tracked by the economists to analyze how an economy is performing. So for India, economic survey states that this is expected to decline to 6.5% in 2017-18. So this becomes a very important fact for our examination. Also, we can be asked a question on the conceptual framework of GDP, like what is the GDP, what are the different measures of GDP, how GDP is different from national income and GVA. So these are all the conceptual part, and you can see all this conceptual part through detailed MCQs as well as your notes on Indian economy. According to economic survey 2018, India's average growth rate during the period 2014 to 2017 is higher than which of the following segments or countries? World, emerging market and developing economies, China, all of the above, or none of the options given above. So this is again a direct factual question from economic survey, and we have to remember that the India's average growth rate according to economic survey is going to be higher than the world, emerging market and developing economies, and China, and answer to this question is D, all of the above. So this is the chart which depicts the performance or the average growth of GDP in India during 2014 to 17. So clearly you can see that India's rate is going to be higher than China, emerging market and developing economies, advanced economies, and the world. And this is based on the IMF's World Economic Outlook. So this is a very important publication of IMF, and this fact has been obtained from that publication by Economic Survey of 2017-18. As per the first advanced estimate released by CSO, growth rate of GVA or gross value added at constant basic prices is estimated at 6.1% in 2017-18 as compared to 6.6% in 2016-17. Which of the following is incorrect regarding gross value added? So in this question we have presented some basic information which we have directly extracted from the economic survey, and we have asked the question on the concept involved, that is gross value added. So gross value added is a measure of total output and income in the economy. GVA is the sum of countries' GDP and net of subsidies and taxes in the economy, while GDP gives a picture of the state of economic activity from the producer's side. GVA gives the picture from the consumer side or demand perspective. All are correct, none of the options given above. So here option number C would be the incorrect one, because GDP presents us the picture from the consumer side and the GVA presents us the picture from the producer's side. So here C would be the answer. So while GVA gives a picture of the state of economic activity from the producer's side or the supply side, the GDP gives us the picture from the consumer side or demand perspective. According to Economic Survey 2018, India's external sector has continued to be resilient and strong in 2017-18 so far, and the balance of payment situation continues to be comfortable. Which of the following is not a component of BOP account of India? So here again we have picked some basic information from the Economic Survey and framed a question on the concept involved, that is balance of payment account of India. So we have to identify which of the following is not a component of BOP account of India: current account, capital account, revenue account, official reserve transaction, or none of the above. So in this case, if we have the basic information regarding the balance of payment account, we would know that there are different parts of it, including current account, capital account, and official reserve transaction. So here the revenue account would be the incorrect one, because this is not a component of the BOP account. So BOP refers to the systematic and summary record of a country's economic and financial transactions with the rest of the world over a period of time, and there are three components of BOP: current account, capital account, and official reserve transactions. According to Economic Survey 2018, which of the following segment of GVA and GDP witnessed the highest growth rate in 2016-17? So this is a direct question which has been picked from Economic Survey. So we have to identify which of the following segment witnessed the highest growth rate in 2016-17. The options are mining and quarrying, financial, real estate and professional services, public administration, defense and other services, electricity, gas, water supply and other utility services, none of the above. So this we have to remember that the right answer here is public administration, defense and other services. So this is how the different components of GVA and their growth rate is distributed from 2014-15 till 2017-18. So here you will see that the highest growth rate in 2016-17 is in public administration, defense and other services, that is 11.3%. According to Economic Survey 2018, in the recent years, the wedge between real and nominal GDP growth has narrowed significantly. Which of the following is incorrect regarding real and nominal GDP? So here again we have presented some basic fact on Economic Survey from the Economic Survey, and we are framing a question on the concept involved. So we have to find which of the following is incorrect regarding real and nominal GDP. Nominal GDP includes both prices and growth, while real GDP is pure growth. Real GDP offers a better perspective than nominal GDP when tracking the economic output for a period of time. Real GDP is usually higher than nominal GDP. All are correct, none of the options given above. So here option C would be the incorrect one, because it is nominal GDP which is higher than the real GDP. Nominal GDP includes both the prices as well as growth, while real GDP is simply pure growth. So nominal GDP would be the higher one, and real GDP would not be reflecting any price changes, so it would be the lower one. According to Economic Survey 2018, the difference between nominal growth between GVA and GDP has also increased in the last few years. This is indicative of increase in the share of net indirect taxes in GDP, decrease in the share of net indirect taxes in GDP, decrease in the share of net direct taxes in GDP, decrease in the share of net direct taxes in GDP, and none of the above. So here we have directly picked some important fact from economic survey, and it is also linked to the basic concepts of GVA and GDP. So we are being asked if the difference between GVA and GDP has increased, what does this indicate? So here the answer would be option number A, increase in the share of net indirect taxes in GDP. So if the difference between GVA and GDP is going to rise, it is because of increase in the share of net indirect taxes in GDP. This is because the GDP is the sum of gross value added as well as difference between the indirect taxes and subsidies. As per the fourth advanced estimates of food grain production, it has been estimated that the output of food grains would be of the order of dash in 2016-17. So this is a direct factual question which we have picked from economic survey. So here the options are 275.7 million tons, 205.2 million tons, 345.1 million tons, 384.3 million tons, or none of the above. So here the right answer is A, 275.7 million tons. There is not much concept involved. We simply have to remember that as per the fourth advanced estimate, this is going to be the order of production in 2016-17 with respect to food grain. One of the salient features of GVA growth in 2016-17 has been that the two sectors contributed nearly 1/3 of the total growth of the economy. These sectors on an average contributed to about 1/6 of the GVA growth in 2012-13 to 2015-16. Which of the following two sectors are being talked about in the above lines? So we have directly extracted some information from the economic survey, and we are trying to identify which sectors of the economy are being talked about in these lines. So the options are industry and public administration, defense and other services, agriculture and allied industry, agriculture and allied and public administration, defense and other services, agriculture and allied and banking and financial services, or none of the above. So this is a direct fact which has been picked from the economic survey, and this has to be remembered by us that here the answer is agriculture and allied and public administration, defense and other services. So the two sectors, agriculture and allied and public administration, defense and services, have contributed nearly 1/3 of the total growth of the economy, and their contribution was about 1/6 of the GVA in the period 2012-13 to 2015-16. According to Economic Survey 2018, real per capita income, which is measured in terms of per capita national income at constant 2011-12 prices, is expected to increase to dash in 2017-18. So here the options are 74,500, 86,660, 93,450, 1,01,200, or none of the above. So this is again a very direct factual question from the economic survey, and this has to be remembered, and the answer here is B, 86,660. So economic survey says that the real per capita income is expected to increase to 86,660 in 2017-18. So per capita is simply the real national income divided by the total population, and more about this can be referred in the basic notes on Indian economy. Which of the following are aggregated to arrive at GDP using expenditure side? So if we are trying to calculate GDP by expenditure side, now first of all there are different ways of measuring GDP. One can be from the income side, one can be from the expenditure side, one can be from the production side. So there can be different ways of measuring GDP, and the question says we are trying to measure GDP from the expenditure side. What do we have to add, or what do we have to aggregate? Private and public consumption, investment, net exports. Options are 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 1 and 3, 1, 2 and 3, or none of the above. So in this case, whenever we are trying to measure GDP by expenditure side, we aggregate public and private consumption, investment and net exports. So all are going to be covered. So answer in this case is going to be 1, 2 and 3. So from the expenditure side, whenever we are trying to calculate GDP, we add consumption, investment and the net exports. So we have picked this from the economic survey because economic survey says that consumption expenditure has been major driver of the GDP growth, accounting for nearly 60% of the GDP growth. So it presents an analysis of GDP from the expenditure side, and we have framed a question from this analysis, the conceptual part of this analysis. Which of the following is most accurate description of Angell's law? As households' income increases, the percentage of income spent on food decreases. As households' income increases, the percentage of income spent on food increases. As a household's income decreases, the percentage of income spent on luxury goods increases. As a household's income increases, the percentage of income spent on luxury goods decreases, or none of the above. So here we are being asked about a basic law of economics, that is Angell's law, and we have to remember that according to this law, as the income of the households increase, the percentage of the income which is spent on food decreases. So this is an economic theory which says that the percentage of income allocated to food products decreases as income rises, and Economic Survey 2018 also brings out a similar fact with regard to increase in income level and declining share of food and food products in the consumption basket. Which of the following are the sources of origin of savings in an economy? So here we are being asked about a basic concept of economy, that is about the origin of savings in an economy. Households, private sector, private corporate sector or public sector. Options are 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 1 and 3, 1, 2 and 3 or none of the above. So here we are being asked that there are different sources of origin of savings, and which of the following are those sources in an economy. So in this case we have to remember that all of these are the sources of savings in an economy. So answer would be D, 1, 2 and 3. So here you can see that the gross savings is divided into public and private sector, and private is further divided into corporate and households is further divided into physical savings and financial savings. So this is about the gross savings, the conceptual framework relating to gross savings in Indian economy. Which of the following are the forms of financial savings by the household? Currency, life insurance, provident fund, all of the above, none of the options given above. So we have to only identify which are the forms of financial savings by the households. So in this case, all of these are the sources of forms of financial savings. So answer here would be D, all of the above. So financial savings are those savings which are held in terms of currency, bank deposits, life insurance, provident pension funds, and etc. An Economic Survey 2018 says that the bank deposits are accounting for around 50% of the aggregate financial savings. So this is about the financial savings. Economic Survey tries to bring out some facts, and we have framed a question relating to the conceptual framework of savings in India. According to Economic Survey 2018, based on the firm footing provided by the discernible improvements in most fiscal indicators, the government in partnership with the states ushered in the long-term goods and services tax. The GST came into effect from. So here we have again presented you a basic fact from Economic Survey, and we are trying to frame the question on the concept which is involved. So the basic funda of this question is around the introduction of GST, that is goods and services tax. So GST came into effect from April 2017, July 2017, September 2017 or November 2017. None of the options above. So this we have to remember that GST is a game-changing indirect taxation system, and it came into force from 1st of July 2017. So answer would be B, July 2017. So GST is a basic indirect tax, and it is going to subsume different kinds of indirect taxes which were earlier prevalent at central and state level, thus creating a common unified market in India as a whole. According to Economic Survey 2018, inflation in the country continued to moderate during 2017-18. Which of the following is the measure of headline inflation in India? So this is a question on the inflation framework in India, and it asks about what is the measure of headline inflation in India. Wholesale price index, producer price index, consumer price index. There is no headline inflation in India, none of the above. So in this case, we have to remember that in India, headline inflation is measured by consumer price index. So here answer would be C, consumer price index. So inflation is a rise in the general level of prices, and the concept of inflation is very important for examination point of view. And Economic Survey 2018 also presents some insights on inflation in the country, and more specifically with respect to the headline inflation, that is consumer price index combined. It says that it has declined by 3.3% in 2017-18 April to December as compared to the corresponding period in previous year. Sustainable Development Goal 11 relates to ending poverty in all its forms everywhere, making cities inclusive, safe, resilient and sustainable, ensuring healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages, taking urgent action to combat climate change and its impact, none of the above. So this is a question on a very important current topic, which is Sustainable Development Goal. So these are the goals towards which all the countries of the world are now moving. So we have to identify Sustainable Development Goal 11 among the options. So this we have to remember that this goal relates to making cities inclusive, safe, resilient and sustainable. So here answer would be B. So Sustainable Development Goals are the 2030 agenda for sustainable development. So these are to be achieved by 2030, and these are the successor goals after the Millennium Development Goals. There are 17 Sustainable Development Goals, and they have associated 169 targets and 304 indicators. And Economic Survey 2018 makes a special reference towards Sustainable Development Goal 11. So this can be asked in exam. Which of the following is incorrect regarding foreign exchange reserves of India? The forex are reserve assets held by a central bank in foreign currencies. India's forex reserves include foreign currency assets, gold, special drawing rights, RBI's reserve position with IMF. Foreign exchange reserves steadily increased from US $292 billion at the end of March 2013 to US $370 billion at the end of March 2017. Gold constitutes the largest component of India's forex reserves, none of the above. So this is a question on the foreign exchange reserves of India. Now in this, all these options are correct except option number D, because foreign currency assets are the largest component of Indian forex reserves. So the concept of forex reserves as such is very important for our examination point of view, and we have to remember that foreign currency assets are the largest component of Indian forex reserves. And Economic Survey also says that India's foreign exchange reserves have gradually increased, and they have reached the level of 409.4 billion as on December 29, 2017. Which of the following would contribute to increase in current account deficit under balance of payment account? So this is a question on balance of payment account. A rise in imports, increased outflow of interest payments from India to abroad, increase in remittances from India to abroad, all of the above, none of the above. So here we have to identify and relate to our understanding on balance of payment account. So we have to analyze and remember that the balance of account has a current account and a capital account component, and current account deficit would not only include our trade deficit but also include some other items like services, remittances, etc. So in this case, all these would be covered under current account. So answer would be D, all of the above. Now the concept of balance of payment is as such very important for examination and has to be revised thoroughly from our notes. And current account transactions include not only the export and import transactions but also service income, investment income and unilateral transfers or remittances. And Economic Survey 2018 points out to India's CAD position, and it says that it has remained benign during first half of 2017-18. The appreciation of the rupee in real effective exchange rate term indicates that India's exports may have become slightly less competitive, may have become more competitive, competitiveness is unaffected, are increasing at a gradual pace, none of the options given above. So in this case we have to relate to the concept of depreciation and appreciation of rupee and the impact on imports and exports of India. Now in the given case, when the Indian rupee appreciates, so it means the Indian rupee is getting expensive in relation to dollar or any other foreign currency. So if the Indian rupee becomes expensive, so it means that the India's exports will become expensive because the people from other country who are involved in buying from India would have to pay more. So it may happen that India's exports may become slightly less competitive. So here answer would be A, less competitive. Now, Economic Survey 2018 also says that during 2017-18 the rupee generally traded with an appreciating bias. So this may indicate that our exports may be slightly impacted. So guys, this is all about the first part on chapter 1 of Economic Survey 2017-18. Thank you.